Hello students, today you will be seeing the program 2 of your DA lab. Okay? So in program 2 you have two parts. The first part is about inheritance. So in this program they've asked you to design a superclass called staff. So in inheritance you have one class that uses the properties and behavior of another class. So the class uses here the properties and behavior is nothing but the data members and the member functions. That is the variables that you define within the class are used by an other class. The class that defines and declares these member functions and variables is called the parent class, a super class, or a base class. Okay, and the class that uses these member functions and data variables is called as a child class, subclass, or a derived class. Okay, so here they've asked us to design a super class called staff. So the class staff becomes the parent class, and they say that it should contain the details like staff ID, name, phone, and salary. So staff ID, name, phone, and salary, these become the data variables of the super class staff. Okay. And they mentioned that there have to be three subclasses of the superclass by name, teaching, technical, and contract. So there are three subclasses: teaching, technical, and contract, which belong to the superclass staff. So this teaching has its own set of data variables called domain and publication. Okay. So which domain is the staff in? That is, which is the subject that the staff belongs to, and how many publications does that staff have? Okay. Here staff is nothing but the employee of a particular college. So this is with regard to the scenario of a college. And technical. This asks for the technical skills of the staff. So skills is a data variable that belongs to the subclass technical, which is a subclass or a base class of the parent class staff. And contract. For how many days, months or years is this staff going to work for this particular college? Okay. So here the contract has a separate data variable called period. So period is a data variable belonging to contract, that is apart from staff ID, name, phone, and salary. Contract cannot use the data variable skills or the domain publication, and same applies for each of the subclass. So they ask you to write a Java program to read the values for all these data variables that we have given and to display at least the values for three staff objects of all the three categories. Here the three categories are the teaching, technical, and contract. Okay. These are the three categories that they have mentioned here, and they're asking us to display the record for at least three staff objects. Because staff is a class, every object of the staff class, that is staff 1, staff 2, staff 3, becomes a object of the class staff. Okay. So we discussed this when I was telling you the program statement. So inheritance is nothing but a mechanism wherein one class it acquires the properties and behavior of a parent class. It is the parent class or another. The data members and the member functions are the properties and the behaviors, and the class that acquires these properties is called the derived class, and the class that declares these properties is called as a superclass, base class, or parent class. Okay. So the syntax for depicting the inheritance in a program is you have the class, you give the class name, which inherits or which acquires the properties of another class. So here you give the class, this is the keyword that is there, and then you have the name of a class, that is the subclass which uses the properties of another class. So the class that uses the properties of the other class is first given, and you have a keyword called extends here, and you give the class from which the properties are acquired, and the method is defined. So it can have its own set of methods and fields declared here, apart from those that it's going to use from the system. Okay? So the extend keyword here is nothing but it indicates that you are making a new class which derives from an already existing class. So some of you have your family names along with your names, right? So this family name tells us that you belong to such and such a family, and you will be inheriting the genes or the properties from your ancestors. So the ancestors there will become your super classes. So you might have a few genes, or you might even acquire the properties, the lands, the houses, all those that belong to your ancestors. So that is how you inherit the properties, right? The same way here, these classes do not have the land kind of properties or genes. These have the properties like the member functions and the data variables, which another class will be using. So this class becomes a child class. There are some uses of inheritance as we have discussed in our previous sessions. So with inheritance, you will have the um, chance to extend the logic of a base class. So a base class is intended for a particular operation. Say it is intended for a particular operation. You can extend this base class operation using a child class for an superior operation. So say you have written a base class. I'll give you a very simple example. You have written a base class to add just two numbers. Okay, you have given a base class to add just two numbers, and you define a child class wherein you can add 10 numbers. Okay, you can add 10 numbers using the child class. So that a very simple example. You can do that, or you can give even more. Data variables along with what is given to the base class. The base class maybe it is intended just to take two data variables and define those data variables and display them. Okay, take in those data variables, values for the data variables and display them. But a child class can be written for n number of values, so n number of objects, right? And and reusability of code. You need not define a code again and again everywhere you want to use the same data variables or the same functions. So you can just make a class, a child class of another class by using the extends keyword and use the data members given there. The members of that particular class can be used here. So functions need not be defined. Some functions may end in two or three lines statements, and some sentence may have n number of statements. So you need not mention it again in the child class when you're using the same function. You need the same functionality for this particular class. You need not define it again. You can just make this class the child class of that class. Apart from using those functions and variables, it can have its own functionality. So code reusability is here, and you can reduce the space. So once you reduce, you defining the function again and again, you will be reducing the space and reducing the CPU cycles. So the stress on the processor will be reduced. Okay? So before we write the Java concept, before we write the Java program, we'll have to see a few Java concepts here. So a package we have studied in our fourth module, right? Package and interfaces. A package is nothing but it's a group of classes, similar classes and interfaces and sub packages within one particular program code. And there are many built-in packages in Java, like Lang, AWT, JavaX, Spring, Net, IO, Util, SQL. So all these belong to the main package called Java. When we define the package, we say that when we import the package, when we call these packages within our program, we write that java.lang, java.awt, javax, java.swing, because Java is a package inside which these packages exist. Okay, so we need to follow them. See, while that is the next part, while importing. So import keyword is used to acquire or import these particular packages into our program. Okay, so while importing the packages, only the package and the classes within this package can be imported. Okay, classes or interfaces can be imported, but the sub packages cannot be imported just by calling the package. If you want the sub package to be called, that is imported, you need to mention even the sub package. When you mention the sub package, then you will have all the classes defined within the sub package also imported to your particular program. Okay, so you will have it as um, import java.lang. So in lang, if you want the math subpackage, which is with regard to all the mathematical operations that happen, so then you will have to write java.lang.math. Math is one of the subpackage within the package called lang, which is a subpackage for Java package. Okay? So while defining packages, if you want to define you have learned already, right? You can also have user-defined packages. When you want to define a package, you write that package and package name. So when you write package and package name, this will be obviously saved with .java extension only. So when you give this, that becomes a package, and this package can be called in another program which wants to use the same classes in this program. Okay, so you have to just use import. So that deals with package and import. And the next part is allocating memory to the array objects. So defining the values for one object is fine. You do not require any for loop here. But when you have to have too many, so here in your program it asks for 3 steps. So you have to have an array for maintaining the values for these 3 steps, right? The record for these 3 steps have to be maintained. So here you use a for loop here, and you initialize n to the number of steps that you require. Okay? So every time you need not call a new object and to design a constructor for it. You can just have A of I. A of I becomes the new object for every stack that you call for, and you have a memory allocation by calling the constructor here. Once you call a constructor here, you will be allocating the memory for each of the n objects. So one memory location will be allocated to each of the n objects using this for loop. So how you allocate a memory is shown here. When you do this, you will have an array of n elements wherein each element becomes the memory location for the object, that is the stack, for each stack in that particular stack class, to hold the values of the variables defined in the program. Okay. So till now we saw that we will have a package, we will have how we can import package and how we can allocate memory, all this. But how do you take a value from the user? So we use the scanner. Now scanner is a class in the util package. Okay, util is a package which has a class called scanner, which helps in taking in the input from the user for some primitive types like int, double, float, long, all these, and also the strings. Okay, the syntax for this is we use scanner, we give the scanner class, we give the class name. Along with it, we define a new object for that particular class called sc. So SC is the object name. You can give this as anything. The scanner should be there. You will define a new object and you will give a memory location to it using the scanner constructor. And you will pass a predefined object called system.in, which represents the standard input stream. So it says that the input has to be taken. System.in has to be taken. Dot in there. In is the system.in is how the user gives it the input. So if we know that we need an input from another file, wherein the file holds the input for this particular object, you can pass the file name in this system.in. So this argument you can pass the file. Okay, that is system.in, not SYE, it is SYSTEN. Okay. So to read in the values from the user, we have a few commands for each of the data type. Okay? To read the numerical values, that is integer data type, you have the next int command. Okay, this next int command takes in the integer values from the user for integer data types. And for strings, we use the next line. Here we use the next int and next line command, so we are discussing about it. The next line is it is mentioned along with the object of the scanner. So we have a scanner object defined, right? There SC was the scanner object defined, right? So we define that SC is the scanner object. Along with it, we give the next line and initialize it to the variable of that particular object. So if you say that the staff one will have a name, right? So we give it as name equals to staff one will have a name. So we say name equals to SC is the object of the scanner. SC dot next line. So it will take the value for the string value for the name variable. Okay, so for you have other commands also. We have discussed this in our OC sessions, OC class. So kindly do refer to that so you will know what are the other commands to take in the input. So for long data type we have next long. For next for integer data type we have next int. And for string we have next line. So some of these we are using it here, hence I have mentioned it here. So coming to the program. So we define that this program will be a package of package. Okay. We are also calling the package, we are also using the package students here. Okay. We have to have the scanner here. We have used import java.util.scanner. So scanner is the class. We are using only the scanner class from the util object, sorry, util package. Hence we have called this particular class here. If we have to use the entire set of classes in util, we will write it as import java.util.star. So star gives you an access to all the classes defined within the util package. But we don't require all the classes. We require only the scanner class because we want to put in the input into the program. So here we are defining a class staff, which is the super class, and we are having the data variables. So we say staff ID, staff name, that is S name, and phone number and salary. Okay, we are here. We have taken a long data type phone number because it has 10 variables in it. Sorry, it has 10 elements in it. And we have for staff ID, we have taken int here. It is just they have shown you different type of data types taken here, and string is taken for staff name and float for salary. Okay. So we have defined the variables here. Next, we use the get data, get staff details. So get S details here. Get S details. You can use get details or details, anything for this. So we have used the member function get S details here, wherein we are now initializing the, we are declaring the scanner object here basically. In here we have mentioned in. There SC was the object, right? Object name, new object name. Here in is the new object name. You can see here where my mouse points. In is the object name. So we have the scanner. For the scanner class, we have defined a new class object called in. Okay, and we are giving a memory location for this in by giving the system.in. So this says that we have defined a new object called in, which has to take in the input from the user. Okay. System.out.println, this is to just put in the statement inside the braces on the monitor. It puts in the output here. So we ask the user to enter the staff ID. So there in C++, we would have C out and give the value of the variable, right? We used to write the variable C out and we used to write the variable. Here we need not write the C out here. We use, instead of C out, we are using the next int. Okay, in dot next int along with the object. We are asking that along with the input object, we are asking the next int command to take in the value for staff ID. This in dot C. Java is all about objects. Even to take in the values from the user, we create a new object which allows the user to put in the input. So the same way for staff ID. Okay, for staff ID, we have asked the input object, that is through scanner, whatever we have created, we are asking it to take the value for staff ID. Since staff ID is of the type integer data type, we are using the next int command here. Okay. Then we ask for the staff name here, I am sorry, I should actually put it as next line here. It is only, it is not next, it is next line. S name is equal to in dot next line. Kindly correct this. I will correct it in the PPTs later when I upload the PPT. You can just do that. So S name is equal to in dot next line. It is not only next, it is next line. Since staff name is of the type string data type, right? Hence we use the next line command. So we ask the next line command to take the value for the staff name. So then we ask for the staff phone number. Since phone number is of the type long, right? Hence we are using next long. Okay, so phone number, phone is the variable that we have given. So this is the variable name. For the variable name phone, we are asking it to take the input from next long. And for salary, enter the staff salary. We are having salary as of the float data type. Hence, we are asking the user to put in the value. So the system takes the value from the input object, okay, in, that is from the scanner, and we are using the next float to take in the value from the user. Okay. Then to display the value, this you know very well. You have to just add a plus. You have to append a plus along with the sentence that you want to display on the monitor to display the variable value. Okay. Plus staff ID plus S name plus phone and plus salary. Staff salary equals to, it displays the values of these particular variables. Okay. Now, again, it has asked us to define the subclasses, right? So, we have the subclasses teaching, it extends the stack. So, here you see we have used the keyword extends here. Teaching becomes the subclass of the superclass stack. So, teaching extends stack along, apart from those variables, you will also have to take in the values for string domain. So here domain is, in which domain is the staff in, okay, and what are the publications that is the staff has. So we take both to be of string values. Okay? So we give the data type string along with domain and publication. Get the details. We again we cannot use the scanner that is defined there. We will have to define the same scanner again here, because this is the subclass. We will define the scanner again here. Scanner is one object and we are defining only one object here of input type. For every program you will have to define only one input object. Okay? So scanner in is the object of the scanner type, scanner class, and you are giving a memory, you are mentioning the memory location and giving the system.in, which is a which is built in. Okay. So system.out.println, enter the domain of the stack. So domain is equal to next line. See here, since it is a string data type, we are using next line. So domain, you have to take the input from the user for the domain variable. System dot enter the publication, again the next line. Okay. So then you put the details. So for displaying the details again, you have domain is equal to plus domain and plus publication. Right. So this is for the class. Since you have defined two more classes here, two more variables here, you have to ask get t details. Get t details is teaching details. You define another function here. So that was get staff details. Here you are asking it to give the T details. So here get T details. You will have the teaching details are display are taken from the user, and you have defined another function here to put in the to display the details. Okay? Then you have another class defined here, that is the technical class, which is also a subclass of staff. So class technical extends staff. So technical, it extends staff. So technical is a subclass of staff. And here we are asked to define the skills variable. So skills, again we have given the string data type, because we will have to enter a word or a sentence for this particular variable. So we take the string variable here. Again get T1 details. Since teaching and technical both begin with T, here we have taken it as P1 details. That was P and it is C1 details. So again we define the scanner here. So scanner is for taking in the input for this particular function. We are defining the scanner for this variable to be taken in from the user. So enter the skills. Skills is equal to in dot next line. There we used to write C out and give the um, right shift operator and give the mention the name of the variable, right? Here instead of cout we are giving it as in dot next line, in dot next int, in dot next floor, in dot next line, in dot next double. So this is how we are going to give. We are going to mention the data type here. Okay. In C, you used to write percentile D and then give the data value, right? The same way, you used to not mention the data name in C. And in C++, you used to mention the data name. So here we will mention the data name as well as the data type along with the object that is created to take in the input. Okay. So put details, that is whatever you want to display, the skills is equal to plus skills. The skills, where whatever the value for skills will be there, that will be displayed in this, with this particular function. Okay. The next one is contract. Contract extends staff. So contract is again a subclass of staff. So this contract, it extends staff. So along with the staff ID, name, phone number, you will be using period also. So what? So for period also we are taking the string data type. Okay. You can give it. You can also take an int variable for this, or you can take a string. If you're giving in a number, you can take the int variable. If you're mentioning a period in the sentence, in a word or a sentence, then you will have to take it as a string. That can be done here. Either you can take an int or a string here. So again, scanner we have taken it to take the input here. System enter the period. For period you're taking the next line since you've given it as a string. When you define the data type for a particular variable as a string, you will take next line. If this was int, you would have taken it as period is equal to in dot next int. Okay. Since it is string, you have taken it as next line. So you are displaying it by giving it as plus period. Okay. So here we define the main class. So you would have seen in your OOC class, right? In OOC class sessions, you have the program structure given as you have the main class and then the main method defined here. This is the main method here. The main class is class inheritance. So inheritance is what you're depicting through your program to A, right? So the main class here is given as class inheritance, public static void main string args. This is a default statement that you will have to put in. And here you are defining two values. Okay, you are declaring two values int I and int n. Int I here is for giving the number of you have to give a for loop here, right? You increase the number of values for taking in the variable values, right? And n here is to ask the user for how many values, how many staff members do you want to enter the values. For how many staff members do you want to enter the values is given by n, and I is for incrementing the memory location of these staff members to put in the values. Okay. So you ask the user to put in, enter the number of staff, and this is again the scanner is taken in. Scanner can be given first, and then you can ask to enter the number of staff. It is not that you have to first put in this statement. In this statement, you can put scanner in is equal to new scanner, and then ask enter the number of staff. So n is initialized with the value that the user puts in. Next int, because n is int value, int data type, you are taking int dot next int. Okay? And here you define an array. Staff SF. Okay, the SF array belongs to the staff data type, and you are declaring the array with n, whatever the n value that the user puts in. So you are declaring an array of n elements. Okay, a new array of n elements is declared here that belongs to the class staff. Okay, then again for teaching, since staff you have taken n value, you have again given subclasses that belong to the staff class, right? So you have different data variables defined between teaching, technical, and contract. So for each of these data variables, you will have to take the array because these arrays are in line with the staff member, right? So if this staff only has an array, it doesn't do good. Because for this staff, yeah, you will have n number of staffs with all staff ID, staff name, staff phone number, and and yeah, and staff phone number. You will have for those variables, you will have the values. But when you don't give the array for these three subclasses, the domain, publication, and the skills and the period will not be considered for all these steps because there are n number of steps. Those should also have n values, right? Hence, we are giving each one of the subclasses an array. So teaching has T array, technical has T1 array because teaching is a class. Teaching class has T array, technical class has T1 array, and contract has C array. Okay? So new arrays of length n are declared for teaching, technical, and contract. So here we define the for loop for each of it. So we are asking to the for loop that you allocate a new object for each of the I value. So S of I is equal to new staff, T of Y is equal to new teaching, T1 of I is equal to new technical. A constructor is given for each of the I, that is each of the object of the class. So each object of the class occupies one index of the array. Each object occupies one index of the array. So a constructor has to be given to allocate a memory for each of this element. Okay. So for reading the value also you have to give the same for loop because you have given the memory allocation, but you will have to take in the values, right? Hence you have to give a for loop for implementing the index of the array. So here you write enter the details of the staff. You need to take in the values, right? So you will have I plus 1. So from the first staff, you cannot start from the 0th staff. So you start from the first staff. Hence you have given as I plus 1. So S of I becomes I plus 1 here. So the for first staff you take the details from the get S details, get T details, get T1 details, and get C details. So from these particular functions, you are taking in the values of the first staff object. So I value here is I plus 1 for all these. I plus 1, I plus 1, I plus 1, and I plus 1. Staff plus I plus 1 because you are not going to start from I is initialized to 0. You have to start from the first staff, hence you are starting from I plus 1 staff. That is 0 plus 1, that is first. So this gradually increments until the n value is met to the user requirement. If user wants to put in 3 staff members, n will be 3. The user wants to put in 4, it will be 4. And kindly make this as I is lesser than or equal to n. It is not only lesser than because you cannot, if you have given n is equal to 3, only when I is lesser than n, it will take the value. Since you have given I plus 1 here, you will have to take it as lesser than or equal to n. So the same thing repeats for this also. Take it as lesser than equal to n. So all the values will be displayed on the screen. I plus 1. So you might get a doubt that why these dots are here. So in the display, we just want each of the staff values to be displayed within these lines. So one staff value is given a, when you see it, when you see the output on your screen, it has to be nice to see, right? So you will have the values of the staff members displayed within these dotted lines. Okay, we will see how you will have the output here. So the output here is you will ask the user to put in the number of staff to enter the details of the staff 1 and staff ID will be given here. enter the staff name, you're entering the staff name. Since phone number is of 10 digits, you're entering the 10 digits. The staff name is of string type. The staff ID is of int, you have entered. Staff salary is a float. You can have a floating type value or you can just have this kind of value. Salary can be given in long or float. Anything can be followed. Float, you can have a decimal point. Some of them might have the 30,000 something, some change, point 226 paisa or something like that. So that can be displayed, or you can have it without that. So the domain of this app is Java, hence we have taken it as string. The publication is Sun Microsystem. So here the publication, instead of publication, you can have as the book that they have published, which publication does it belong to. Okay, and the skill is core Java because Java, the skills is core Java, and enter the period, they have given it as 6 months. You might ask me why period was taken as string, right? I just told you that you can take it as int also, because when you give it as int, you cannot mention it whether it is months, years, or days. Okay, days, months, or years cannot be mentioned. When you give it as string, you can have a space also, you can have a number, or you can have alphanumerical characters. Hence, you have taken it as string. Okay, so the details of the two staff are displayed here. Right. So that was your 2A.